Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brumakian podcast, an episodic review series where I can review anything, but not everything. That includes giant monster movies, anime, and video games. This week, we got aliens, we got monsters, and both of those things are in the great beyond. This week is Invasion of Astro Monster. It was in the mid-1960s where United Productions of America, UPA, had asked producer Henry G. Saperstein to approach Toho while Frankenstein Conquers the World was in production about a new movie. And the studio approved it. It was a fully fledged co-production between Toho and UPA, though Saperstein claimed that he had 50% of the funding. Saperstein, in his mind, felt that the scripts that Shinichi Sekizawa wrote were formulaic, stating that the films often open up with a press conference or a government conference with scientists and officials, and he said that they needed to get into the picture quickly, then a conference can happen later on. The script would also incorporate elements such as an alien invasion story like the other Toho films. Like Frankenstein Conquers the World, Saperstein proposed to include an American actor that would appeal to the American audience. And just like Frankenstein Conquers the World, it would fall onto actor Nick Adams. The reason why Nick Adams was going to be the one was because Saperstein stated Adams was terrific and a real professional, always on time, ready with his lines, available, and totally cooperative. He loved being there. Hey, if I was him, I would be too. But already there was a problem. Unlike previous Godzilla movies, this movie's budget was lower, meaning the special effects weren't going to have elaborate model cities and would use stock footage from Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, and other movies as well. Ishiro Honda, the director, stated, "It was a vicious cycle of time and budget. If we recycled scenes from previous movies, we could cut the effects budget. But then we received complaints from our fans saying it looks weird, it's not fresh. We could fool the audience for a little while, but eventually they would know the trick and stop coming to see the shows. Then the studio would think that special effects films don't sell anymore. It's no wonder we could not make anything good around the period. It was a sad story." Well, despite that, Invasion of Astro Monster was released in Japan on December 19, 1965 as a double feature with the film Young Beasts, and in the United States under the new title Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, or just Monster Zero, on July 29, 1970 as a double feature with another film that we'll get to later. Now, here's something very interesting. Both the Japanese and American versions, as David Khaled stated, are visually identical. Previously, the Godzilla films, well, pretty much almost every Toho film that came to the United States, had been heavily edited. This time, there was a little change. The only changes that were made were that several of Akira Ifukube's music were rearranged. Oh, by the way, the English dubbing was produced by Glen Studios, an LA-based company that still stands to this day. Now then, here's the film synopsis. Astronauts investigate Planet X and encounter the people of Planet X, or as I call them, the X people because fucking reasons, who ask the humans to help save the world from a monster known as Zero, aka Ghidorah, by FedExing Godzilla and Rodan to said world. As one astronaut forms a romance with a mysterious woman, he uncovers the X people's true intentions. I wonder what those intentions may be. After the 2-minute break, I'll give you my final thoughts. See you then. It is better than Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, but not as good as Mothra vs. Godzilla. The biggest thing that you can tell is that the stock footage is clear as day. On your first viewing and never having seen the other films, it's not bad, but later rewatches and you did see those films, it's a different story. Speaking of the story, it is interesting enough that it held my attention for that long, and I do like how the story is a continuation from the previous. Even though you don't see Mothra or the Twin Fairies, it's... oh well. The characters have their personalities, and they are above the standard good. Takarada and Adams bounce off each other so well despite the language barrier. The X-people are cliche, but at least they stand out in a certain way. And I mean that literally. Those outfits, they look like something you would see from a fashion show. You know, that one single fashion show where everyone looks like they're wearing complete garbage? Yeah, that one. I'm not sure about the... One more time. I'm not sure about the design of Godzilla in this movie. Sure, it's a different suit, but the wipe mount doesn't work for me. Also... Oh, good lord. Can we talk about the dance for a second? Jesus Christ. The first time I saw that, I would like, oh, wow, this is funny. But now I can agree with Ashura Honda. That was a dumb idea. Rodan and Ghidorah are still the same. One looks dumb, the other looks amazing. Even though the budget took a hit, it still looks great for the most part. And the music is more bombastic than usual. I think the farting tuba has something to do with it. Overall, Invasion of Astro Monster is an enjoyable watch. Like I said, it's better than Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, but not as good as Mothra vs. Godzilla. I think it lies somewhere in between them. If you love this movie more than me, that's fine. It is flawed, but at least I had fun watching it. Speaking of space, so remember that giant turtle Gamera that was launched into space? Bad news, that same rocket crashed into a meteor and the turtle is free and heading back to Earth. But when he returns to Earth, there's going to be something else that is about to be awakened. I wonder how that's going to turn out. Until then, thank you all for watching or listening. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you want to see more of the Brumakian podcast, then subscribe to the channel. This has been Demetrius signing off, and hail to the king.